Good evening. We start here tonight. South Africa does not need to be developing more special economic zones, but should be making the entire country an industrial zone with manufacturing at the center. That's according to the manufacturing ambassador at the Toyota Wessels Institute for Manufacturing Studies, Professor Justin Barnes, who told Ntokozo Khumalo, our business reporter, that fixing the South African economy means fixing the manufacturing industry.
Well, the International Monetary Fund is quite optimistic when it comes to South Africa's growth prospects for next year and going forward. But industry players in the manufacturing industry are not so sure and really encourage for business owners to be more aggressive about growing the industry. And I am now joined by Dr. Barnes, who is a manufacturing ambassador with the Toyota Wessels Institute for Manufacturing Studies. Thank you for talking to us. Talk us through why you are not so optimistic about South Africa's growth prospects and why the industry itself should actually be the one that's driving growth more aggressively.
The point I was making in my presentation is that the manufacturing sector in the country shouldn't be seen as a sector that will grow with economic growth, but should rather be seen as the sector that will create economic growth. The economic forecast for the country suggests very low growth over the next few years. And my central argument is that this is a country that cannot sustain low levels of economic growth. We have too many social issues to deal with, and we desperately need to create more employment and raise productivity in the economy. So either we are going to see further economic decline, or we are going to have to recover our economic trajectory in a much more aggressive way. And the only way to do that, as per my presentation, is that we need to emphasize the centrality of manufacturing to the growth of the economy. Manufacturing is typically of products that travel well, and as a consequence, manufacturing allows us to escape the confines of our smaller domestic market, which is one of the major challenges we presently have as our economy hits the headwinds that it's been hitting. So the manufacturing sector, instead of being seen as a sector that will rise or fall with the balance of the economy, should rather be placed at the center of our economic strategy and used to catalyze stronger economic growth going forward.
Now, industry players do have their work cut out for them. There's a sundry list of issues, headwinds that the industry is facing, but there's a few that you pointed out as if we tackle those now, we could start seeing that turnaround. Talk us through those.
So, as you rightly point out, there is a long list of obvious things that could be done in terms of improved services at a local government level, in terms of infrastructure, etc. My presentation emphasized four elements that I believe are critical. The first is, if manufacturing is going to be the catalyst for economic growth, we should place it at the center of the economy by making the whole country an industrial development zone. So instead of having small special economic zones in different parts of the country, why not declare manufacturing the country's focus, declare the country an industrial development zone, introduce a corporate income tax of 10% for manufacturing, and this would then channel capital away from the parts of the economy that don't necessarily create strong economic multipliers, that do not create large numbers of jobs, and secure that capital investment for the manufacturing sector. So that was the first argument, is how do we prioritize manufacturing? And my argument is, one, make manufacturing the center of the economic policy. The second element, which is a very touchy one, but a very important one, is the issue of black economic empowerment. The manufacturing sector is probably the most important economic activity for the development of black professional skills in the productive side of the economy. Manufacturing has a tiered structure, and the consequences of that is that it enables the progression of careers through the manufacturing organization. The challenge we have in manufacturing is the limited amount of capital that we are attracting. And that means that equity-based black economic empowerment actually becomes a hindrance to the development of the manufacturing sector. And my argument is that we should be using the manufacturing sector in South Africa for what it is most capable of doing for the economy. One, training up large amounts of skills that we desperately need, and two, having a strong technology spillover effect, creating jobs and creating economic activity in the non-tradable side of the economy. This is where I believe there should be a stronger focus on equity-based BEE, but manufacturing requires every type of capital for its growth. That includes my third point in the presentation, which is foreign direct investment. My central argument is that foreign direct investment does not occur spontaneously, and it certainly does not occur if there aren't strong signals from domestic investors. The challenge we have in South Africa is not the lack of foreign direct investment, it's the lack of domestic direct investment.
Dr. Barnes, thank you so much for talking to us. And of course, that is Dr. Justin Barnes with the Toyota Wessels Institute for Manufacturing Studies, and is the manufacturing ambassador there, just highlighting what he believes should be the key focus areas in getting the country industrialized and manufacturing at the center of economic growth. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ntokozo Khumalo at the Sentin Convention Center in Johannesburg.